gentlemen, welcome Jaffos TV, bringing you an all-new D&D group that you never knew that you needed. Welcome to the Botched Initiative, where we are bringing you the first ever campaign for Jaffos TV in this channel. If you guys have been on Jaffos TV, you know my face, but there's a cast of characters here now that you may not know that have basically rose to the challenge, answered the call, which I once again cannot be more thankful for. This group here came together, got everything that we needed to get together, going through session 0 now today, and hopefully you guys find the story that we are about to give you entertaining, and we know it's something that we are really looking forward to doing for you guys to be able to experience. You guys know me, but I will be playing the druid Jovian Praxis. The lovely lady on my left, your right there on the screen, my wife Marissa. She will be playing the warlock Sorcerer Blackheart. And going around the room here, let's start off. Damien, let everybody know who you are.
My name is Damien. I'm playing Celos, your sorcerer cleric.
Perfect. And then Christopher.
Hey guys, I'm Chris. I'll be playing Solomon Gray, the wizard.
Eric.
I'm Eric. I will be playing Solomon Thatcher, the barbarian.
Mr. Kane.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adam. I'll be playing Seth Salazar, the Sloot with the Loot, the Dragonborn Bard.
And May.
Hi, I'm May. I'm playing Adelaide Castavois, the Paladin.
And last but certainly not least, the man who will be helping guide this wonderful story that we're about to give you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome from OTP Games, Mr. Bill Lynch.
I'm Bill. I'll be playing everybody else in the universe. No biggie.
So obviously I am very new to D&D compared to a lot of other people that are on this panel. So enough of hearing from me. Let's take it into the world. Mr. Lynch, our dungeon master, please, sir, will you take it away?
All right. So this is more of a meeting than anything else. So it's going to be kind of dry, but we'll get through it. This is where we're going to get to the nuts and bolts of the world, how the rules work. A little bit about myself. I've been playing D&D since 1981. Played every edition except 4th edition, which I don't really consider D&D. So I have a wealth of knowledge, but that can be a problem too because I have all the different rules in my head collide sometimes and cause confusion. I haven't asked for a stable raw staff for one in a long while, but I might ask for a reflex staff. The campaign world already built that we're going to be starting in, but everyone in this cast is going to add to it and flesh it out and aspects during character creation. We've already come up with some of the help flesh out some of the world. But this is a place over here, and there's certain aspects to it that have been fleshed out as we're creating characters. Even I'm going to try to insert lots of party tension, but it shouldn't spill over to party conflict unless it's kind of fun stuff, mind control. But we're all going to get along as a party, I certainly hope. Does anyone have questions on character creation so far? Everyone's character is like 95% more or more done. My setup's kind of off when I have a Discord set up on this side and my big screen over here. And I'm going to do this next one. Now, none of the characters know each other. Is that correct? Nobody was planning on having a character know another character?
No.
No.
So far. All right. Tell you a little bit about the world. It's a very low magic world. Magic obviously exists. People know about it, but most people don't understand it. Arcane casters in most civilized areas, in an area we are starting out, will be required to have an arcane license to use magic. Just like a driver's license, you have to have a driver's license to drive. Doesn't mean you can't get in a car and drive without one. Just means you'll get in trouble if you get caught. I think we pretty well worked out who doesn't have license over that off screen. Sure. Also home a lot of stuff, including monsters. A couple of things: don't expect level appropriate encounters all the time. Running away option. That won't be like every. It gets pretty unheroic after a while. But if it's been a round of combat, you haven't the thing yet. You're either not fighting something you're supposed to fight, or you need to figure out how it's weak. You'll have weakness. Most creatures have, or not most, but a lot of creatures will have weaknesses or immunities to certain types of damage. So the arcane caster, well, any caster actually try to figure out what that is fairly early on, and exploit that. Martial types can still you can use smarts to get around certain creatures. Sometimes you'll be just fighting goblins and just use good technique. There's no gunpowder, so you're not going to be able to create cannons or create big bombs. And fireball has little concussive effect. That's something people seem to have forgotten from first edition. Just it's like a flash fire, cause lots of heat, but doesn't blow anything up. Maps are rare and precious. If you guys find a map, it will be something valuable to you. There are not only do local rulers not want to have maps out there, there actually is a god of secrets who keeps maps from being traded too easily. It's a quasi-realistic historical medieval world, so people's lives are miserable. They're poor. They're one bad harvest away from a risk of starvation for the most part. And people have a medieval mindset. They're very backwards thinking. Most people, as soon as you hear the term backwards thinking, you think that that's something negative. Throughout most of human history, that was not something negative. That people, it was a pretty common belief in most of human history that man had fallen. It was a golden age we had fallen out of, and we were, even if we weren't technologically fallen, which for a lot of the Middle Ages they had less good technology than in the Roman era. During the Greek age, Hellenistic age, they look back on a golden age where we're morally superior. We seem to, in modern age, the sense is things will get better as technology improves. We're going to evolve more advanced. The 20th century warfare kind of set that back a little bit because we're not advancing morally, although we've now seem to think that. So, not telling you how you should think in your lives. You're not going to tell you how your character should think because that's your character, but at least understand most people think the world was better off in an ancient time, in a previous time, and they're right for the most part. Okay. What campaign do we want to have? There's a gothic horror, doesn't work great with D&D. Supernatural horror, low fantasy, gritty realism type, high fantasy heroic, which is what I think we're going for. Is that everybody kind of good with a heroic fantasy? You guys are larger than life heroes, cover a different cloth than the average person. You're going to go out and do things, or at least also kind of getting the feel that we're going to have like a mild Dirty Dozen type. You guys are all are not all, but largely outcasts. Are we on board with that? You have the one paladin Lee Martin character kind of not full on Dirty Dozen, but yeah. Okay. Player character. I have a couple of beliefs when it comes to character death. Is that if you do something stupid, it can get your character killed. But also, I don't like having characters die because of one bad die roll. If you do a bunch of stupid thing, and then your life depends on one good die roll. You fail, yeah, your character dies. But you don't like. One of the things that was kind of rough about first edition is that there were a lot of save or die mechanics that you just could stumble into. Like I said, not everything's level perfect counter, so be prepared to roll if you have to. But just be smart about it if you have to. You guys have put a lot of work in your characters. I don't want to kill anybody right away because that's, first of all, not good cinematography or not good storytelling to kill off characters right away. So I want you at least to. I don't mind having a character death, but let it be after people have gotten to know the character. Does anybody really have a problem with character dying? Does anyone need extra plot armor, basically? So everybody's okay with getting killed if it just happens.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go after. I won't go after characters, but I might go after the character as one of the NPCs if I have a reason to. If the NPC would have a reason to, or if you take them off, or if you kill his family, something like that. But I'm not going to try to cause a character death for good storytelling or anything like that. Some variant rules I want to propose. One I like to use a lot is if you drop to 0 points, you get 1 level exhaustion. That keeps you from popping back from fights real quick. Does anybody have a problem with that one?
Can you repeat that one more time? Kind of cut in and out for a quick second.
Okay, sorry. If your character drops to 0 hit points, you come back with 1 level of exhaustion.
Okay.
Like in Pathfinder.
You need to take 8 hours, take an 8-hour nap to be back to where you need to be, and have some food. Death saves are a lot easier than they used to be. What do you guys think about having a death save being a DC 15 Constitution save, which benefits fighters and guys with high Constitution, but a DC 15 con save and a DC 15 medicine check to stabilize?
That works.
Okay.
Can we have the saves in secret? So like nobody knows like if I'm on my last save.
I want to talk about metagame more than nothing. That's a good question though. We want to go with the gritty realism healing variant where short rest is 8 hours and long rest is a week. That would slow down gameplay, not necessarily slow down sessions, but take longer. That would slow things down.
Oh. There he goes.
Huh? He I knew he was cutting in and out. I was like, he's on the verge of it right now. It's close. It's close. But from what I got from that, do you say the death saving throws were a DC 15 plus Constitution?
Yeah.
So you roll for your Constitution, and you have to get over 15.
You just get next what happened, it just blipped out. So, say you're a fighter and you're proficient in con saves, you have a 15 or a 14 Constitution, you get +2 from that, you get +2 from your proficiency bonus at first level. You need to roll an 11 better to make your death save. If you're a wizard without proficiency in Constitution saves, and you have a 9 Constitution, so you have a -1, you need to roll 16 to make your death saves.
Okay.
We could think about that and talk about it over the chat or whatever. It's not that one scary pretty quick, depending on how long fights go on, how long it takes you to get somebody in or stabilize them. Critical success and critical failure rolls. Nat 20 is always a hit. That one for combat. That one always a miss. I play with fumble tables where if you roll that one, you can drop your sword or fall down. And the same side of the monsters. I often don't roll for them because it just takes too long to fall down to their sword across the room or something. And I have them for saving throws too. So if you fail, and it's for spell attacks or melee attacks, you can fumble. And if you firebolt somebody, you get to roll double damage the same way as shooting an arrow at somebody. That's actually in the rules, the normal rules. One thing I'll probably do for critical hits is, instead of, say, you critical hit with a longsword, instead of 2d8, it'll be 8 plus a d8 to make sure you get a good roll. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because critically, you got 2 damage. You're going to have the match first one and then roll the extra die.
So
Does it
Bill,
make sense?
real quick, Bill.
Yep.
It sometimes you'll go. We can hear you clearly, and then there's other times where it's in and out, grainy, choppy, a little bit glitchy and stuff. I don't know if it's the connection or
It might be I don't know why my internet would be. I'm gonna try one thing. It might kick me out again. Hang on.
no worries. We can get you back again. This is all the trial run. We're all good.
Hang on.
I am going to switch over to a different device. Maybe the camera will work on that for me.
Okay,
I'm going to see.
perfect.
Also, Bill, you can try without video and just do audio. That might be
See
help
if
you a
that
little
work-
bit too.
At least for now. Yeah. But we'll get it all figured out. Let's see. So then let's do that. Go to there. There we go. There she is. Go horizontal. There we go. We are all on. And now I don't know if Bill's frozen that way or if he's really focused.
I think he might be frozen.
Slight freeze. I don't think he. Yeah, he might be. There we go. Let's see.
Hello.
Oh, there's 2 of them now.
Yep, there's.
Why, Jimmy?
All right.
Okay. Is that better?
That's a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
The last thing I really heard was you were talking about the natural 20s and natural ones, like the critical
Can you
miss,
go
critical hit.
back? Can you go back to like exhaustion and all that
Yeah.
as well?
Did it happen to him again? It might have happened to him again. We did hear him perfectly for a second.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, he looks from here he looks frozen. So let's do that. See if he's gonna usually, to help that out, like if it starts freezing and glitching out and everything, getting or completely closing out and then coming back in normally helps.
Mhm.
But what have you guys caught so far? Like what is, I know it's been a little glitchy for most of the time, but what have you guys caught in so far?
Hey.
A lot of it is.
Oh, go ahead.
A lot of it's what's on the campaign in D&D Beyond. I think that has gone over mostly so far.
Okay. So says I'm back.
Okay.
There we go.
That's weird. Is it better now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Okay. Okay.
Can hear you, see you, everything.
Okay. So you're asking about exhaustion.
Yeah. How's that gonna work?
So
Are we?
what's that?
Is it gonna be like magic with just the short rest that we have with this campaign, or is it gonna have to be the whole week for the long rest that you have?
Well, I think there's going to be enough healers that's not going to make too much difference, so I'll just go with the standard rules. But if you drop to 0 hit points, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. There's like I think it takes a 5th level spell to remove a level of exhaustion, or just sleep. Get an 8 hours of rest, you can remove the level of exhaustion. Critical hits and critical misses. Everybody good with the max damage on the first die plus the die on the second one?
Yeah.
You understand that? Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll apply to monsters too. Foundry System so just automatically does that.
What was again? Max damage on the first, and then
yeah. So if you critical hit with a dagger, instead of 2d4, it's 4 plus a d4 to guarantee it's better than a standard hit. For skill checks, a natural 20 is the best possible outcome your character could achieve. So if you try a deception check on the king and tell him, "You're not the king, I'm the king," and you roll a natural 20, he finds it amusing and has his physician try to cure your insanity instead of having you executed for treason. That if you're trying to, if it's something you can measure, like you're trying to do a long jump and you do an athletics check and you go natural 20.
And there he goes.
we were going so well.
It was great.
It was going so well. I do like that though. Instead of trying to cure your insanity rather than execute you for treason. That's a pretty good one. Natural 1 is going to be I'm assuming
Yeah.
horrible outcome in that.
Yeah, he's gonna smite you on the spot.
Let's see. And then you could hear all of us for a moment. Let's see.
I'm gonna try to get the webcam working. My phone, this is difficult to type and take notes.
Okay. No worries.
So I'm gonna try one more time,
Try.
and hopefully it will work.
I closed the tab out completely and started again. I could hear everybody and just wasn't uploading anything, I think.
Okay. Got you now. It's all clear now.
So for something that's measurable, if you roll a natural 20, that's not good enough. Count that as a 30, and you get to roll again. If you roll another natural 20, it's a 40. Keep going until you either succeed or fail. I am not good about giving out inspiration. So at the end of a session or even during a session, if somebody does something that deserves inspiration, say, "Hey, does that deserve inspiration?" And I'll reward it. And I'll let you guys. You can have more than one inspiration. And the way I usually play it, inspiration trumps disadvantage. So if you have disadvantage and you use your inspiration, you get advantage instead of having flat. Pacing. The rule of thumb I use is that a scene takes 45 minutes. So, and for doing 3 hours, then you should be able to get through 4 scenes. I'll prepare 6 to 8 scenes, depending on what the last session happened, and because and you might not hit every scene, but I might skip scenes if they're not fun, or if you guys go off on a left tangent. And generally, if you guys have a really hard combat, your next one should be easier, usually, just for pacing and for telling the story, that sort of thing. Likewise, if you have an easy combat, your next one might be hard. And also a challenge. Not there are challenges beyond combat, puzzles, that sort of thing. Puzzles are the really hard one because you can have a puzzle out of a kid's book that takes the party 2 hours. You can have a super hard one that just somebody just comes up with the answer in 10 seconds. You can spend half an hour in front of an unlocked, untrapped door. I will not I'll start rolling dice behind the screen. You can actually see it on Foundry.
A few
online
hours at
etiquette.
an unlocked door would be comedy.
Oh, it is. It happens. It happens all the time. Since we have a bunch of players, it helps if you can direct something to another player. If you have had your turn in the spotlight and you want to shift off somebody else, ask another player a question. Try to raise your hand if you want to say something, because it's hard when we're not all at the same table to pick up on those nonverbal cues. And just try to be extra attentive for the cues. And then when somebody talks over you, it's going to happen. Don't get upset. During combat, we'll try to give you 1 minute per turn, especially for the new players and learning all the new rules. There'll be a lot of flexibility in that, but try to have a plan for when your character comes up in combat, and expect at least some of the time your plan will get completely blown out of the water by the characters before you action. You have this great plan, and then the guy you're going to hit dies or whatever. We won't bring any out of game politics or religion into the game, but I will take outside examples. Like I was telling some of the people, I read an article about some Haitian warlord who killed 100-some people because he thought they cast a spell on his own son. Is like, I'm using that in one of my games. If you come across orcs that happen, I'm not saying Haitians are orcs, or I'm not trying to make social commentary because I'm too lazy. It's just, I will also say this is kind of like the Hobgoblin Kingdom of Jilko's kind of like modern day Russia after the first Ukrainian war, sort of. I'm not trying to bring geopolitics, just that's the kind of the attitude, just a very surface level, superficial comparison. Don't read too much into it. Everybody cool with that. And there'll be inspirations, but I'm not trying to make political statements. Make sure your character has a reason to participate. If you want to be the lone wolf, but you're the reluctant hero, that's fine. But make sure you find a reason why your character wants to participate. After the first couple sessions, it can simply be because these are your friends now. We can build your backstory as we go along. A lot of you have some pretty detailed backstories. Some of you are a little less so, and that's perfectly fine. And you can use that to your advantage if you're smart about it. You capture somebody, you want to take them alive, and you're going to tie him up, and you say, my character would know how to tie him up because he was on a ship to get to this place, and he spent a lot of time talking to the sailors and learned all kinds of knots. And I'll say, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Or but your character's always been real, subdued and quiet. You said you don't like anybody, so you wouldn't talk to anybody. So it has to be logically consistent. If you want to say something in your backstory, you can propose it. I was like, okay, that'll work. I went, no, this is not consistent with how you've played your character so far. But try to push the limits on that if you want to. Develop your character as we go along. Tell me what your intentions are, not just in the short term, but the long term. You can message me offline on that easier. But this is when I wish I really had Foundry up. So there is a goblin here and a child here, and your character says, I'm going to defend that child. You move your token up between the two things. There's a 5-foot gap between them. You move your thing up here, so I'm going to protect the child. Well, the goblin, by the rules, can just walk around you and attack the child without provoking an opportunity attack. If what you're supposed to do is move next to the goblin, then he can't move and attack the child. If you say, though, I'm going to go protect the child, I'm going to take that into account, even though your rules mechanics aren't exactly right. I'll just use the rule of common sense. Say, yeah, he's trying to protect the child, so you get an opportunity attack if the guy moves to attack the child. Does that make sense? if you have some fantastic spell combination you want to use, don't try to surprise me and like get me when combat pops up, because the only thing worse than you popping out a spell combination and I tell you that's not how that works, and you're like, is I tell you that's not how that works, and then next session I was like, oh, that is how that works. I was wrong. You should have had an easier combat. So just I'm not going to try to make things so your combos won't work. I want you guys to, if you burn your spell slots and you invest in your character and train as a team, and you pop up, spike growth and repelling blast and thorn whip and start dragging people back and forth, I'm all for that. But tell me so I can make sure if it's a niche rule, I want to be able to look it over, make sure I understand it right.
He's gone again. We lost him.
Damn it. It's there. It was going so well. The record on the day. Okay, no, but that sounds good.
What was the last part? I didn't hear the last part.
Something about thorn whipping.
The combinations and stuff, being able to
Spike growth, thorn whip, and repelling blast all in one. Every time they move through the area, they get that point of damage.
The cheese grater method?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I love cheese graters.
I think the only catch was it has to be willingly moved through the area. I think that's how they bonked it last time.
You talking about spike growth in particular? I don't know what's going on with StreamEd right now. I've never had this problem like this before. I'm pretty sure if you move someone through spike growth, he takes damage, whether he moves on.
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cheese grating situation. I've done it. It. Nature clerics are disgusting. Just give them telepathy. And it's all cheese all the time.
I think we're all glad as you playing the paladin. We don't have. Oh, I think some of us are gonna commit some kind of crime.
What the heck is going on?
Not a war crime if it's the first time.
That's not how that works.
Okay.
There you go.
So tell me what your long-term plans too. If you want to take, a level of wizard or whatever, tell me so we can work it into the story, give a reason, or I tell you that's not a good idea. If you still want to do something that's not advantageous to your character, I'm not going to prevent you from doing it, but I'm going to try to talk you out of it. People talk about power gaming as if it's a bad thing. If you face combat several times per week where you might die, you're going to get really good at combat. And you're going to really focus on making sure your character is good at killing things and staying alive. So I don't have a problem with power gaming in that sense. If you want, like any of the martial characters, you want to take a level of fighter, that's pretty easy to work in as a story. All you're doing is focusing on fighting as opposed to, being a ranger, sneaky guy. All you're doing is focusing on stabbing things. That's easy for martials to take a level of fighter without any sort of explanation. Other classes, you need to have some sort of explanation, but it's not. Some of you've already talked about it in your backstories or talked to me about it, and it should work out really well. Try to do some narrative combat where I'll, describe the wounds you inflict. And if you drop somebody, I'll let you describe your kill shot. Be careful when you do that. If you say I lop his head off, and then you want to question him later, higher level you can do that, but at first level you can't really question him after you kill him. There's ways to do that later on, but not right away. And also, if you say you puncture through his breastplate, that was a magical breastplate. I won't I might correct you there, but if it's what treasure you're supposed to get him, I can say, yeah, well, you ruined this adamantine breastplate he had, but just be careful how you describe it. If you throw him off a cliff, then you're gonna have a hard time looting the body. And if you guys do kill something, any of you can say, well, there's no way anybody could have survived that. What that is, that's a signal to me you enjoyed that encounter. You wouldn't mind seeing him again. I'm not obligated to bring him back, but I'll try to do what I can if it works in the story. it makes some sort of sense to bring that back so you can fight him again, or maybe his brother or son, or something
like that.
That's a memorable NPC, not just your standard goblin. We'll do a recap at the beginning of every new session, so not for the first 2 prologues or the first real session. I'll try to let a player do that. I'll give you a warning beforehand. You're going to do the recap so you can tell what happened last session. Talking a little bit about accents. We already have Galtupo is kind of Italian, Spanish, and Jovian's going to be from that area. You decided that, or you're going to have the Inigo Montoya type accent.
Yep.
Get with me if you want to have an accent, and I'll try to help you pick out a region of the world where that would come from. If you do a great German accent, we'll find some place where that works. Yeah, go ahead.
So I had a question considering, I don't know if it was allowed, but like for my character, I do disguising. So like disguise self, and I do various accents. Would it be okay to like switch them up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending. Cool.
One thing your character would know, pretty much everyone would know this for the most part, you can't, even if you speak Elven and you're not an elf and didn't spend 200 years perfecting your Elven until you became an adult, you can't fool an elf into thinking you know Elven. You can communicate to him in Elven, but he'll know you're not a native Elven speaker. You're not truly an elf. So remember that if you use disguise self, you can just be a half elf and they'll know that you speak this bastardized version of Elven. But they'll know you're not really an elf. I try to use immersive language. So if there's one word you can get out of your vocabulary when we're gaming, okay would be a great word to get out of your vocabulary, because that's a modern word which comes from a literate society. That's not something that people in the Middle Ages said. If you want to go full Elizabethan English, that'd be great. If your character has the educational background to back that up, if you can't, that's fine. Be careful how you use words like man or manly or humane, because those have very distinct meanings. Most of the world, the overwhelming majority of the world is man, but there are lots of non-human races, and they could, if you say somebody's very manly to a half-orc, he'll take that as an insult, same as would an elf or a dwarf or pretty much anybody else.
It's more literal than anything.
Yeah, so a man is a human. Now, you can say, just like in English, man isn't always clear. Like mankind and man can have the same meaning, or you can mean a man and a woman. Then it's clear. Same thing in this world. Just because you're talking about man, does he mean actually a specific male human, or does he touch humans in general? If you're talking about the race of man, you mean obviously mankind. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Also, it's a medieval world, so there are certain things like they don't have a word for nepotism, because that's just what happens. Like in Afghanistan, you know what the Pashto word for corruption is? They don't have one. That's how things work. You just get stuff done. It's the same kind of attitude there. There's no bureaucracy in government. If the king gets deposed, everyone comes in and gets. If you go to DMV after an election, a week before and a week after the new governor gets, if there's a change in governance by party, same people work at the DMV. There's no change across the board like there is in a medieval world. Even if the king dies and his son takes over, there's going to be a lot of new ministers coming in with the new regime. A big turnover at all levels, not just like at a cabinet level, like in the U.S. or other areas. Okay.
There we go again.
Is that my fault for re-entering?
No.
It's us. Excuse.
I think I got everything back just before I refreshed. Everybody came back in, then I hit refresh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There you
go. Okay, this is driving me crazy. So we should agree on how we want to have StreamYard. Do we want character name first and then player name underneath, or vice versa?
So we're actually gonna have it. I was describing because the only reason why we're using StreamYard at this point in time right now is because, like I said, our producer EJ had to he had some last minute things that he had to do, but the plan is to still use Streamlabs. And we have graphics set up with the character pictures and everything like that, so we'll be able to have that next to everybody and in everybody's frame to be able to identify character and that kind of stuff. We'll also have a whole, like, with either with logos or with promotions, whatever it is that we're doing. There will be a whole, and then with Foundry, we'll be able to put the map. We won't be able to see too much on our end when it comes to what we're looking at here. We'll mostly be seeing us, but Foundry wise, we all have our own ways of seeing what's going on. But presentation wise, what you'll be able to see on the channel is something different than what we would see. So you'll be able to see the graphics and everything on the channel, but while we're actually communicating and talking with each other, we won't see all of that. We'll just see the names and, the character names and stuff like that. But the graphics wise we'll be able to see on the actual channel. But we can do a lot more graphics wise and everything with Streamlabs than we would here, because StreamYard's very like you can only do a certain amount of things graphics wise and layout wise and stuff like that. So
but he'll enter all that in, so
go ahead.
Will he enter all that in so we don't need to worry about?
Oh yeah, no, we've already got all of that. He was gonna, had today not happened the way it happened, he would be here and we can show y'all everything that we could even give you guys the raw stuff, like as he's making it. I'll send it to the group chat to show you guys, see what you guys think about everything that we got going there. But it'll look, presentation wise, it's gonna look really cool, I think.
And I'll have my camera where my big screen is too, so I can, because to look at you I have to look here, but to look at the camera I have to look here. I'll fix that. Yeah, so Foundry works best. What I do when I'm DMing is I have 6 screens up, because I also need to be able to have big things so I can see better because of my eyes. But if you want to have Foundry on one screen and then something else on the other screen, and you can control Foundry with your mouse and keyboard if you want to. If you have 2 people, you can't both run Foundry on the same, maybe on different tabs, I don't know. But you can't, like, the way it works is when I send you the link, and it's not screwed up like it is right now, you log in, and then if your token is present on the scene that's active, you can see the scene. And when you move your token, your field of view changes. You can see new stuff depending on where, it actually, there are walls that block off, what you can see, what you can't see. There are doors you can open, there's sound effects, and you can hear background noise. So we'll probably play around with that, and I'll let him know beforehand how noisy this scene is and how much background music we want to have. You in Foundry, you can adjust. So I don't know if you're going to run Foundry.
Oh, see, I didn't know Foundry had its own like background noise and all that kind of stuff.
I don't run music because it distracts me, but you can run, and you should be able to adjust. You can also adjust the noise level in Foundry. If it's too loud for you, you can adjust it so it doesn't make so much noise. You can still hear people talk, and you should be able to adjust the music too.
If Foundry can do that, then that would be fine, because we were planning on, we had another, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Pocket Bard app, but that one, I downloaded it. EJ's download. We were going to use that in the background because that can change musically combat victory, all that different, whether we're in a town, we're in a city, we're in the forest, like it's got all, and then it has the intensity levels of situations too, and the music will adjust to like on the fly. Just all you have to do is move the level up to a certain point and the tempo will pick up, and like the sounds and maybe new instruments, and I'll send you guys, I'm sure if you guys download it on your phones or whatever, but I can send you guys the link to that app so even you guys can get an idea of what it is that it has. So if you would rather use that, we can use that. If we can use Foundry and it won't be a problem, then please tell me you're gonna have that with you. Yep, that's gonna be his loot that he's gonna be going on with. But yeah, no, we were gonna have those, one of the other. I didn't know Foundry had that feature.
Well, I'm not going to run music off of Foundry because it's just going to be too much work for me. So if he wants to run music, that'd be great. And I'll try to give him probably a list of scenes.
It's more gonna be like ambiance.
Okay.
Like if we're in the forest, you may have light music, or you can put no music and just have the ambiance of where we're at. So you'll hear the wind, the birds that are going on. It's got one-shot buttons on it too. So somewhere in the story you said, oh, you hear the bells ringing in the distance. We hit that one button, you hear the bells. And then there's a lot of different features on it that I thought were really cool, that we can really kind of play around with and see what we can do presentation wise. I know, because music wise and stuff like that, I know that can get distracting. So if we were going to have any type of music, it would be very low, very faint. Can't really, if you hear anything, it'll probably be most of the ambiance of the surroundings rather than actual music being played, until we get into maybe a combat situation. Then a little bit of the music will come in there to kind of give a little bit of flair to it. But yeah, that sound wise, visually wise, I think at that point, and I really want everyone else's opinion too. We'll throw in more of what it is that we're doing so we can get y'all's approval, see what you guys think. Because again, if you guys want I told EJ I don't really want all of the character graphics and stuff like that to look the same. I want there to be a little bit of uniqueness to it. So if you guys have an idea for your lower third for what you may want it to look like, because it's going to have your character name, and maybe we can flip this. I was thinking it'll mainstay your character name, and then your name will be at the bottom a little bit smaller. Or we can flip it however it is that you want to do it. But I thought having character be the more prominent one, and then having your name or social media handle, whatever it is that you guys want to do with it, can do that too. And then it's going to have the picture of your character. If you guys can picture this, it'll be the picture of your character on visually, it'll be on the left-hand side, name in the middle, and then the Sable Knights logo on the right side. But so in that middle, if you want it to look a certain way, so Christopher, you want Wizard, you want Solomon Gray to have a bit of a unique looking banner. Let me know what you want that to look like. Adam, same thing with the Bard, May, Damien, Eric, everybody, like to say, if you want your to be it could be basic if you want it to. It could look crazy if you want it to. Just customize it and make it your own. That's really what we kind of want it to look like there. Which, by the way, Damien, what you did with your character was was pretty freaking cool. I don't know why it didn't put the updated one in the intro.
You're fine.
But it looks pretty damn good. Everybody's ideas and stuff like that are pretty cool. What we'll have presentation wise, and then maybe as we go, we can start adjusting them. So like if we get different types of gear, as the time gets older, facial hair is getting grown out, or the hair is getting longer, or some sort of different style or whatever, we can go ahead and just
Spears moment. I'm bald now.
Yeah, we're going it's just completely, shit, whatever it is, adjustments that you want to do with the character, we can try and get that worked in so that it can show. We can get that put as the graphics there.
I would like everybody, if you can, to have like a close to full body shot of your character to make a token with for the battle map.
Yep, that'd be cool.
And the headshots are great for a lot of it. Where is? And let's see what else. So we're going to do this again, and Founder will be up, and you guys will be able to see it and play with it. Might just be the do a little prologue thing. What happens if a character misses a player misses a session? How do we want to handle that? There'll be points in it where we can just say he's not available, he's in the city, something happens. But there are going to be times when, if you're in the middle of a dungeon and somebody can't show up, how do we? And I'm not. This is up to you guys. Do we want to reschedule? Do we want to let somebody else control him? You want to let me control him?
I'm okay with anyone controlling my character. That is fine by me.
I'm good
I figured
with
having DM control, I guess would make it the most fair.
Okay.
But I know a lot already goes into it, but if we want to have, or if we're gonna miss, we can have that person ask and designate, if that helps. But I think when we're talking about if someone's gone, being able to maintain somebody's characters so they don't like die off or something while they're not here.
Could we have them like stuck at camp with a food poisoning or something? I don't know.
At times, like if the last session ends with rolling initiative, that's not going to really work.
Right.
But yeah, I know because I'd like to end on a cliffhanger, but there will be times when we can. And if somebody knows beforehand you're going to miss or you might miss, I'll make sure that I'll try to make sure we get to a place where you can just pop out, no problem. And I also will say, if someone else is controlling your character, I might have to override an action because I know something the other player doesn't know about that character, or you're just saying, "Oh yeah, he gives me his magic sword." No, he doesn't do that. But that's probably won't be a problem. But there could be something where you don't know something about the backstory or something else.
Yeah.
How big? And I've been able to talk to to Bill, for my part or for a lot of the ideas and stuff, but for you guys as well, what is your ideas of what this world could be? What are we looking at? Or like Bill, when it comes to encounters, like how many main bosses or like main villains or something like that are we going through? I know there's going to be, obviously you said there's going to be levels to combat, but how big of a world are we looking at here to where we can all really show off the creative muscles?
There's a couple things. I mean, how much are you guys going to affect the world? Depends on how long this goes and how the rule of thumb is you level up every 2 sessions. With this many players and with a lot of RP, that's going to slow things down a lot, probably. which isn't a bad thing. I'm not, just because you're not leveling up as fast as you want otherwise, that doesn't mean you're not developing your character, not, having fun, that sort of thing. I have. Okay.
There he goes. No.
Okay, it glitched out for a second.
Oh,
Didn't die completely though. I already have some bad guys, villains planned out, and how powerful they are. It's going to depend somewhat on how fast you guys want to pursue them. Not saying that if at first level, you want to go after that villain in your backstory, it's going to work out. But if the story flows so that you have a chance to go after him at 5th level, and you have 6 buddies with you, you'll have a chance to succeed. Not guaranteed you'll succeed, but you'll have a chance to succeed at least. So it's, if you guys want to go explore other parts of the world, and some of you are from other parts of the world, you're not really exploring, you're introducing things, that's fine. If you guys want to, if somebody wants to take a year off and start raising a family, that's fine too. And if the wizard wants to research a spell during that time, so we can say, it's been a long winter, and I'll let you guys tell what happened during that time where the wizard was researching a spell, and whatever. Does that answer your question at all?
Yeah, no, I mean it's giving everybody an opportunity to kind of, like, even if that means flashing forward a little bit in the timeline, to kind of give that ability to be able to work. We can do that. It's like, I'm all right with playing with timeline stuff. I'm all right with the more type of when it comes to like big bads, the idea that I had was, and again, this is your, when we have your work, I was thinking there would probably be about 3 main, holy shit, we really need to prepare for these type of, these are like story changing, story driven type of bad guys. And then everybody underneath that is kind of, you'll have your we'll put it in ranking services. You have your general, which is your final boss. You have your 2, Adam, you can correct me on that. Anybody who's in the military, underneath the generals, lieutenants. Am I not lieutenants? Underneath that,
say a major, and then
colonels.
Right, and then kind of that type of tier level when it goes to, like, the branch gets a little bigger, 1, 2, 3, and then a little bit like almost pyramid like when it comes to enemies, people we deal with, under bosses, just kind of lower ranking things, trying to get more information to get closer to that for when we finally get to our level 20, we've cleaned house, it's time to end it all on a high note type of thing. We're all the story's built up to the point the anticipation's already good. That's kind of where I was looking at it in that sense. When it comes to dealing with, I mean, there's going to be a lot of RP moments for sure. I know that, and I know that the cast of characters that we have here, there's going to be a lot of really, serious, funny, cool, moments and everything that are going to happen. I could just already picture it now. But when it comes to combat and dealing with enemies and how, I wondered how much of it is homebrew, how much of it is pulled from, D&D text and all that, like how much of that is integrated to where it, maybe we can pull things from the D&D text so that, maybe we're running out of different things for the homebrew, so we can pull from there, but make it our own type of thing.
I have like 3 BBGs from backstories right now, so we're not going to need to add too much. So there's not now. Just because your BBG wasn't the final boss monster doesn't mean it wasn't a good story. Just the way it worked out. And it's I don't know what level they're going to be until we go further along and develop things more. And you guys can help. When you're sitting around the campfire and you're saying why you went off on this adventure, you can help build up and I'll be taking notes. As to, or maybe going back and looking at a session, and taking notes then. And so you guys have a lot of. Metagaming. I meant to bring this up. Does everyone know what the term metagaming means generally?
No.
Okay. So metagaming is when the player, the actual human being, starts taking into account things that the character wouldn't know. So your character is in another room, and then I say to the other player, okay, your character gets attacked by this mimic, and your character runs from the other room into the room where he's being attacked, even though you had no idea what was going on.
Mm.
That's bad metagaming. There's also good metagaming where I throw a plot hook at you, and your character wouldn't really jump at the plot hook, but you know that you're supposed to, so you find a reason why your character would do it. That's good metagaming.
Okay.
So don't try to cheat, but use. Sometimes you'll have to just, I can. You've seen Lord of the Rings movies. I assume everybody's seen all of them, at least the first one. Remember when Gandalf says, "This foe is beyond any of you"? I might, as the DM, just tell you that, and you just know this guy's beyond any of you, and that's your signal that you can't fight your way out of this. That made me think of that is that you're talking about the BBEG in combat. You might not take down the BBEG with combat. You might be able to, take him out of power by exposing him in front of somebody more powerful than you, who, takes him out, or, puts him in, relieves him of his duties, something like that. I'm going all over the place now. I reserve the right to monologue. So if I'm describing the scene to you and the BBEG is there on his throne, and I tell you, and there are, goblins running along the pillars on the upper side, and you say, "I shoot one of the goblins." Say, "No, you can't. I'm still talking." It's like a cutscene in a video game.
Yeah,
you're not losing out by me just setting the scene. I'm actually giving you guys some hints, maybe saying that there are goblins up there you need to keep your eyes on, or maybe I'm telling you that this isn't a scene you can fight your way out of. Another way you can metagame, if there's no battle mat and you encounter somebody, you probably shouldn't fight him. If you do, I'm probably not going to roll dice. You just kill the little lady who was there trying to be friendly, or the silver dragon who was disguised little lady just wipes you out, or you get captured and thrown in the dungeon. But if there's no battle map, it's not a fight. If there is a battle map, that doesn't mean it is a fight. Just sometimes there's just a battle map, because that's how I like to think and see things, and helps, present the scene better. I mentioned this before with what not everyone is here. Medieval justice, it's not restorative justice, it's not reformative justice, it's scary justice. The way there aren't jails. You don't go to prison if you commit a crime. You get punished so that other people know not to commit that crime. If you're very wealthy, you might get thrown in a dungeon, but for the most part, there's not enough wealth to have a prison system. If you pull a blade in a city or a town, that's considered murder. It's the same thing, because you were trying to kill somebody. You don't get off easy because you're incompetent. Like, in the modern world, you get attempted murder is less than murder. If you pull a blade, that's the same as stabbing somebody. If you use destructive magic, it's the same as killing somebody. If you use
he'll come back in.
Okay.
There it goes.
If you use any sort of charming magic especially against like a guard is a representative of the king. So that's an attack on the king himself, or queen herself sometimes. So, and once you get high enough level, you can maybe get away with that somewhat and not be executed. But for low levels, that's so don't go to a city and do something stupid and get killed off right away. That would not make for a good campaign. And also, there is objective evil, and there are evil orcs, goblins, and orcs and goblins are evil and uncivilized. If you take some goblins captive and bring them into a town, they're going to be tortured to death because they've been breeding towns, and the people have no interest in trying to reform them or anything. That's something else we need to talk about is what level of violence and all that are we willing to portray on screen, and how do we want to handle that? I think I told most people here before, this is a real world. There's rape, there's incest, there's pedophilia. I'm not covering that. I'm not going to describe that. I don't want anything to do with that. Half orcs exist, and we know how they came about for the most part, but I'm not going to get into any details of that. Slavery's in the world. It happens, and it's not. There are varying levels of slavery depending how bad it is. There's a whole bunch of serfs, which are basically slaves, but legally there's a distinct difference. But most of the world that you guys are around are serfs, and you probably wouldn't bat an eye at it. And if you were to come in as liberators and free all the serfs, they would tell you they would be upset because they would upset their world order. They wouldn't know what to do. But any other, what taboo areas do people have problems with and don't want to see, and what level of, so I want to try to put this in terms of is this going to be a PG podcast or stream, a PG-13 R? There's going to be a lot of violence, but it's not going to be really bloody, visceral, visual violence that you can see too easily on screen. So
no, it's more really theater of the mind and description than anything else. When we had talked about it before, the thought of like you said, going into really triggering type of moments, those types of things, again, we don't need to get into. And then the only case it would work is if really one time it happened and we came in and absolutely eradicated it. Like just like that's the only thing it would kind of work. Outside of that, it's a topic that we don't, again, like you said, we don't really need to get into that. There's nothing that's gonna really push our story and what it is that we're trying to do. But when it comes to level of violence, I mean, for myself, what especially what happens on this channel, like all of this, the cussing, the different things and stuff that goes, I'm not opposed to, especially if somebody's got the final kill, them getting, oh yeah, he ripped his spine out of his ass, type of thing. That type of stuff is kind of like, like it could make for almost a little bit of a comedic moment, but then it's a bit brutal. It's almost Mortal Kombat fatality style. Like I'm not necessarily too opposed to things like that if it's brought in, I guess, described in almost a comedic way. Like if it's done in like a really disturbing type of way, then it's kind of like, all right, we're getting a little, that's like, whoa, taking that step too far. But if it's in that, you're almost, and I know brutally killing somebody is not the most comedic thing in the world, but if you can somehow turn it into, especially since it's fiction, this is not anything that we're, this is a portrayal, a story, and much worse has been put on TV and movies and streaming services. So
I feel like a good gut slash and like intestines falling out. Like I'm okay with gore. I agree with when it comes to like dark triggering events, I'm also okay with not doing those. Although I feel like it would be good storytelling if someone was like seeing rage and they like blacked out and it's a massacre. You know.
Anybody else?
I'm fine with it. I don't think my character is gonna have a lot of that, but I think as long as it drives the story, but not like it's overly violent, and it's just enough to the point where like that's what's happening. That's the story. Then I'm fine with that. But we can't just have like, oh, I see that child, I'm gonna rip his skull out of his head for no reason. Then it's like, what the hell?
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I will probably describe some evidence of things that have taken place sometimes to kind of get your blood boiling. You can get your character's blood boiling. Probably won't be too dark. So probably won't face gnolls too much because they're pretty twisted and sick. Okay. There we go. But I mean, you guys will, encounter, I forget the name of the hanging cages where, people were put because they were, and it's just, that's part of medieval life.
Like heads on
for humans. Now, there's some here who might look down on that because, being barbaric because they're from a more civilized, superior race. But one guy in the upper right corner. There was something else I just thought of. It wasn't on my list. Yeah. Any questions of me on anything? There's a couple characters I want to flesh out a little bit more with the backstory. I'll get to the guys because I want to kind of have you guys meet and not know too much about the other and have you all bring that out organically. My initial plan is for Sorsha, Jovian, and Seth to meet, and the two Solomons and Zealous to meet in two separate things, and then Adelaide will bring everybody together. And she's going to be pretty much like the leader of the party, and the one kind of giving you. Okay. Real quick on alignment. Alignment's very important. The way you get to the afterlife is having a good relationship with your god or goddess, and he or she brings you into the afterlife. If you don't give proper respect to your patron deity or other deities, you might get left in the material world wandering around in the astral plane. Just so we're all on the same sheet of music, there's two axes, the alignment. There's the moral axis and the ethical axis. Moral is good.
Just give it a second. I'll come back. It's been better.
Okay. All right. Good means you actively work to help other people. Neutral means you try not to hurt people. Evil means you're either willing to hurt people or you actually enjoy hurting people, depending how far down evil you go. Because there's like, this guy's evil and this guy's evil. Just, your average pickpocket is just evil. He's willing to hurt people, not too much. Whereas, the guy who's really into torture is really evil. Lawful to chaotic. Lawful means you obey laws and work for the betterment of society overall. Chaotic means you're more interested in yourself, more of a rebel type thing. So chaotic and evil kind of can have a lot of overlap because if you're worried about yourself mostly, you're less worried about others. So there aren't many chaotic societies unless they're also good. So if you're worried about doing your own thing, but your own thing is also helping people, and you're a chaotic good, that's you can live in a society like that. There are no chaotic evil societies because they're all trying to hurt each other. Any chaotic evil monster is pretty much solitary, and they're all usually powerful enough they don't need a society to sustain themselves. Like, trolls live solitary lives. They're chaotic evil, but they might have other underlings they bully, that sort of thing. Any questions on alignment or the gods?
I do.
Yeah.
So like depending on the story, however, would our alignments like change?
Yep.
Kind of like we're allowed to kind of like change them as the story goes, depending on like how we go.
Yep. And actually, when you say you change your alignment, that means you make an effort to change your alignment, and I decide whether it actually changes. If later on you might find magical items that require a certain alignment to attune to, but you won't really. Well, the paladin knows if she's in her alignment because otherwise she's not a paladin. But everybody else, you're kind of, not really sure of what your alignment is most of the time. If you're a cleric, you'll probably have a pretty good idea because you're still getting your spells from your deity. If you're worshiping a good deity and you commit a bunch of evil acts, you won't get any spells, and you could get struck down. If you swear an oath on a god's name, and you break that oath intentionally, the god can kill you or send something to kill you. So swearing oaths is a big deal. It's not saying it's going to happen regularly, but there is a non-zero chance if you swear an oath, especially on Taurus is the god of oaths, I think. So if you're trying to work with an NPC and he offers to swear an oath to a god, especially in a temple or something like that, he's making that. Then you know that he's either a god of worships a god of deception and trying to get a pass, or he is being completely upright with you. Does that make sense? Okay. So yeah, oaths are serious. Deities are serious. And if, say, the party healer heals you and says, "Now we should all thank my deity for healing you," that's not offensive to your deity to say thanks to the deity for healing you, because he gave you a free meal. It's not like you're changing the line and you're changing your loyalty or anything. You're just saying thanks. And the gods are so far above you to not respect that other god ticks off your god too, because you're just a mortal. You should still give thanks to the gods. Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay. I think everything's pretty well set. So I'm busy next Wednesday. I forget what it is.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably.
Me too.
It's you.
Aw.
Yeah, I figured next week would probably be a no-go for everybody for Christmas and everything. For the two prologues, how did you want to do that? Did we want to look at the prologues as a session all in itself?
Yes, and probably short. I'm going to try real hard not to railroad you guys. I will probably railroad you some in the prologues because I know where you need to end up. And needs to be a one shot first of all, and you need to be at a point where I can hook everybody together. So there'll be a little bit of hoping not railroading, just giving you cues and you follow. How many here have never played D&D before? Show of hands. Okay. Do you guys do improv?
Well, no, not really.
Okay. There's like improv is the yes and rule. That doesn't really work in D&D. You can't just, sometimes it'd be like, or I'll say no, it doesn't work that way. But it's not a big deal. But so the more experienced players will know a plot hook when they see one, hopefully, not always. So just try to go along. You saw Deadpool.
Yeah.
The guys, what's that guy doing in the corner? I don't know, you should go talk to them. I'll advance the story, or whatever the line was. That sometimes they'll just be that sort of thing where you don't need to do that to advance the story. That's your plot hook. There are a lot of tropes, a lot of stereotypes. Your characters can break stereotypes. That's part of being a player character. But as DM, most of the guys you run into are stereotypes, so that you can play against type. Because without stereotypes, you can't play against type. There's no type. So you generally have the attitude of everyone around you. You can, be different, be unique, but you would certainly understand. Now, if your character says something out of character, I might say to you, now, are you sure that's, and explain to if you see a half orc and he's being chased by the town guard, you would assume the half orc's guilty of something. But if you see anybody chased by the town guard, really, but you expect half orcs to be criminal, thuggish, brutish. You expect gnomes to be, well, you probably wouldn't know much about gnomes. You expect elves to be stuck up and snooty, but also you expect them to have expect them to have an attitude that are better than you, and you expect them to actually be better than you for the most part. Paladins. There are in-world paladins, and then there's the paladin class. A paladin is like a Knight Templar. Carries a tremendous amount of responsibility and authority and prestige. And if a paladin says something to you, his word is his bond. Also, if you guys kill a paladin, there are various orders of paladins throughout the world. And if you kill a paladin, they will hunt you down and bring you to justice, which usually means removing your head from your body and you face the gods. Something like if you were going to pickpocket from a paladin, I would tell you, if I hadn't told you that already, I'd make sure you know that kind of stuff. So if your character is going to do something that would be stupid, that your character would know not to do, I'll tell you that. I'm not saying you can't do that, just saying your character knows this, this, and this. Are you sure you want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Do we want to have a meeting or a prologue on the 1st or the 8th?
I figured I'm just throwing it out there. I figured doing it the 8th would probably, that way for Christmas and for New Year's, everybody's, with their families or doing what they're whatever it is that they're going to do. So we'll take the holidays, and then January 8th we'll start off with prologue 1, and then we can hit prologue 2 right after, and then officially start the campaign on the 22nd, if that's how
Sounds good.
If that's how you guys want to run it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm not going to be in either of the prologues.
Correct.
Okay.
Now,
sure.
For Streamlabs, when somebody's not on screen, when he's backstage, can he hear everything that's going on?
Yes.
Can he turn it off so he doesn't hear what's going on?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him that.
Okay. Because something for you guys to think about, if you're taken off screen because there's something else going on, I'm not going to tell you have to remove yourself, but if you don't want to tempt yourself with that, metagaming possibility, you can consider, muting or whatever, so you don't hear what's going on. That's up to you guys. Just something to think about.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to watch the episodes, the true prologue episodes, to get an idea what's going on, or you want to be surprised by what the characters are, because your character would be surprised. I don't know how much. Again, I'll let you decide that.
Adam, did you have a?
I was only going to say that there is a slight possibility that on the 8th I'll be in the air, coming back from the Philippines. There's a slight chance. I don't know because I'm leaving the 9th over there, but that would be the 8th over here. So
whatever. There's one prologue with him. in it, and so whichever
We
one
can
doesn't
make-
have.
You just flip it.
Yeah, we can flip
Yeah.
it, and we can make the Jovian,
Solomons and
Sorsha,
Zealous.
and Seth on the 15th, and then we can do both Solomon's and Zealous in for the 8th for the first prologue. If that makes it, I feel like that would make it a lot easier, especially for you, Adam, just so you're not like rushing in a sense or worried about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the only thing that I was also gonna tack on to it is that there's gonna be an extensive amount of travel. All places that have Wi-Fi, I'll be able to jump in. It's just depending on where I'm gonna be, because I'm probably gonna be in Vietnam at one point. I'm gonna be in the Midwest at one point. I'm gonna be on a cruise at one point, and then by February 9th, I'll be finally back. So I'll be able to jump in. It's just I need to know. Well, I need to be able to determine based on time zone when I can jump in with you guys.
Yep.
So yeah, that's all.
That works.
Is there a way we can have like a shared calendar for the group? Like, we can have like, one day we can, and then someone can put like, nope, I can't, so we move it to the next day.
That's smart.
Like,
Yeah.
Google
I
calendar.
will.
Yeah,
Especially being able to let Bill know ahead of time and stuff too, so that we can get the story going accordingly.
May, what were you gonna say?
I'm just thinking about a calendar. Are we all good with Google Calendar, or is anybody against that? Or
I've never
If it
used
works,
it.
it works.
I've got Outlook as well. But,
you could also use the Discord channel calendar too.
We could.
They have to set up
Yeah.
events.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
yeah, we could use the Discord calendar. That would be great.
Yeah. We'll use that for sure, so that we can get, make sure that if there's a chance that I might not be able to make that session or be late or, whatever it may be, that we can throw it in there, and that way, I mean, I know life happens, and I know last minute shit happens all the time. But if there's a chance that you can get information in as soon as possible, like, really the communication is all I'm really worried about. Again, life happens. Everybody's got to do what they got to do. I'm not going to take you guys away from that, because there's more important things, so, but just try to have as much communication as possible. You don't have to get into detail on why, but if you can't make it or going to be late for a certain reason, just shoot a message, be like, hey, we're going to be late, or just not going to make it this week, whichever one. So just so Bill, at least if he has an idea for an upcoming week and you can't be there, he can adjust it if he has to.
Yeah. And if you give me enough warning, I can set you guys up like in a city or something where you can do. And if you need a break too, I can set up so you can have like 2 or 3 people going off at a time for a few weeks, and then you get a week or 2 off, and then bring the party back together at the end of it. So
have like the party go, I need to go take care of this for this amount of time, and then we'll come back and that kind of regroup, because that way we can keep the story going, keep it consistent, or try to keep it as consistent as possible every Wednesday, at least something to put out there. But yeah, no, I definitely think, and I've been noticing this, and I guess I'm new, but I have been noticing this, that a lot of people have been saying that time and scheduling conflicts is the death of campaigns and stuff.
yeah.
So we want to do it, and again, that's why I thank you guys as much as I do for even giving time and volunteering to be a part of this project. So communication, when that's basically it. The more communication we have, the easier that's going to make things. The more we can work on the fly and be sure to put out, a good story for everybody to be able to enjoy.
Good.
Any conflicts? Is there anything that anybody wants to get out there now so that we can either work on it or, nip it in the bud right now?
Go ahead.
Go. No, you go.
No, I'm just trying to make sure we're. Well, actually, you go because I don't know how to word it yet. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not like everybody's cool with me being lawful good.
Okay. This is about the timing schedules. The latest shift I get out at is at 10, and the earliest I go in is at 4:45 in the morning. So depending on how long the games, like I can ask ahead to switch my schedule. I'm gonna need to do it because I'm going to school next semester for college.
What time zone are you in?
CT or CST.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm like 2 hours ahead of mostly everybody.
I'm Central too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Central as well. I think Adam's West Coast, Eric West Coast, Damien
I'm
is
West
Central.
Coast.
Okay, May is West Coast. We're West Coast, so 3 out of the 8 of us are Central. So yeah, but scheduling wise and stuff like that, just let us know what's going on so that we can make sure that things get accommodated the right way.
Oh yeah, it won't be a issue once we start. Because I need to ask my boss anyways to kind of like swap my schedule because they're really good. They have really flexible hours, so I can start like having like Friday or Wednesday afternoons and Thursday mornings open. I kind of need Thursday morning open anyway, so it works out perfectly. That's why I joined. It was like perfect.
Awesome. Anybody else with or May, you had?
I was just making sure character conflict because this is the first time we're all here. So to talk that through, we kind of hashed it out the last time we met up.
Yeah, I mean, character conflict. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah,
it helps out with story. It helps out with the bringing everybody together. So I don't think it would be too, as long as it's just not.
Yeah, it doesn't transfer
unnecessary.
out again.
And yeah, exactly.
That's something you're talking about. Torture.
Torture's part of it.
Killing people is generally wrong, but if you're killing somebody because he's threatening somebody else, that's fine. If you capture an orc who knows where the orc army is that's going to attack the city, and you pull out his teeth, get the answers out of him, that's not evil. That's if you're torturing a helpless person because for fun, that's evil. But if you're torturing to get and the idea that you can't get viable information out of somebody from torture is just complete horse crap. I was a recon Marine and a Green Beret. I've been in combat a few times. Depending who you're talking to, you start slapping certain people around, all kinds of good information that you can verify later on. So, it's a medieval world too. We have this notion you can't harm civilians, women and children. The rules of warfare up until modern era was once the siege ladder touched the city's walls, all the lives inside are forfeit. And that was to save lives because you could invest the town, surround them, try to get them to surrender. But as soon as you launched a siege, a lot of people on the invading army died. So you let them know if you were to actually invade the city, they better give up or they're all going to die or be sold into slavery. So don't bring a modern mindset of what good is into this world. It's a bloody, violent world. You're you are a beacon of light in the world, but
Mm-hmm.
you can still be somewhat of a realist, and
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I will throw some moral dilemmas. There's like the one, if you kill a bunch of werewolves and you find a bunch of werewolf cubs, what do you do with them? They're going to turn evil, and you can't. They're werewolves. It's not like you can raise them properly. But I don't want to get into how I run lycanthropes. But assuming the standard rules, the most humane thing to do is kill them. So you do that. You do that as quickly as you can. You don't torch them, but So I'm not going to try to make it. I might throw moral dilemmas at you, but it's not going to be you won't get punished for not.
Yeah.
For if you have an impossible situation and you do your best, that's all you can do. So.
Yeah. Just trying to make sure everything's good there. I was mostly, yeah. That's all.
You got backup too, don't worry. My character's a lawful goodish person.
Oh, good.
And nobody in this party is like, nobody in the parties that I've seen from backstory and stuff is like evil or complete. They want to tear down society. They're just,
It's more that law abidingness, that whole.
Yeah, and that's not.
That's to
a
be
paladin has to
expected.
weigh law and good. Slavery
Mhm.
is evil, but if you try to overthrow slavery and end up throwing the world into chaos and bring down a peaceful kingdom, is that worth it? That sort of thing. If the party rogue pickpockets someone to get some information and keeps a few coin for himself, is that worth turning him into the authorities to
Yeah.
Moral dilemmas.
Yeah.
In certain
but
aspects.
I don't want to make it impossible. I don't want to make it unfun for anybody. There'll be times when it's not fun, especially when you're facing off against something. But overall, I want you guys to be having fun. So.
Yeah.
Overall, the story and how, because it when we have fun, it resonates. When we're having fun, everything becomes organic. Everything becomes it mutual at that point. People start to invest more into the story when they see the people who are telling the story having fun with it. So
Good storytelling.
Yeah, at that point. So it's just, like I said before, just bringing y'all's creativity, because I know there's a lot of creativity in this room right now. So I'm really eager to see what we can really do with this world. Bill, is there anything else, at least on your mind right now, that needs to
be sure to send me critiques of stuff you didn't like or stuff you did like. I'll try to work on it. Unless if I have somebody saying we need more comment, some saying we need less comment, I'll try to bring it up with the group and say, hey, we got to figure something out. But I have deficiencies as a DM. Let me know what they are. But the big one, awarding inspiration. Make sure I give that, and I'll show you. I'll probably won't go into right now. But I have like little mini inspirations where end of the session you get probably do 3 rolls, and you get different inspirations that are not full inspiration, but they're little things that help, and those given out more freely. And so you keep track of those. Just put it somewhere in your character sheet, and you're on the honor system. Keep track of those. So. But, all right.
Okay.
So it looks like will be.
You're starting to cut out now, Josh.
Yeah.
Yep. It switched.
The
Can't
8th?
hear you at all.
Yeah, you're cutting out.
No.
Can you hear me?
See him?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Can't see you.
You can hear me?
Okay.
There we go.
Phone was running out of battery, and I'm charging it instead of it. So it's there. We go. Got me? Hear it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So, prologue 1, the 8th. Prologue 2. And prologue 2 on the 15th, and then the official start on the 22nd. Got that?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Everybody hear me okay? I know you can't see me right now, but if everybody can hear me.
Wait,
So it's just
Okay. So, everybody here on John Fo's TV, the people who've been watching with us, and Eric, go ahead. You had something?
Oh yeah, so it's just the 3 and then the 3 for the prologues.
Yeah,
Correct.
can we get an update on who's where?
So on the 15th, it's Sorcha, Jovian, and Seth.
Phone died.
And on the 8th, it's the Solomons and Zealous.
Cool.
Are we gonna be like all 8 players or 7?
7.
So are we gonna have all 7 players in that prologue? And just
those
like
3.
just those 3 in the call.
And then I'm gonna set you guys up so the 3 are in the same areas as the other 3, and then the Paladin will come and assemble you all, Avenger style. Not really.
Okay, because I know we brushed over that. I just wanted to like double check.
Yep.
Okay.
Just go with the flow. Don't fight me on where I'm sending you guys, because I'll be pulling my hair out. Once you get assembled, then you can go off on your own. But just let me get the prologues together. So, Did we lose the host?
We lost.
How's
Josh.
that possible? Isn't he hosting?
I'm not sure, but we're
That's
still
really
here.
Huh. I didn't think that was possible.
For the full portraits, when do we want them by?
Yeah.
Probably before the first session you're in. I like to use Hero Forge because you can put all the gear on you want. There's a lot of flexibility. The biggest problem with it is it's designed for printing miniatures, so the heads are too big, the hands are too big, because when you put it on miniature size, it looks right. But yeah, but it's not really critical. I just have the way I like to do tokens. If we all decide we want to do them differently, that's fine. But we'll see.
I think you can adjust the head sizes and stuff.
You can adjust the head, but like
that's what I did.
Yeah, the hands and weapons you can't really adjust. The hands are just too large, but it works when you're printing miniatures. So.
Cool. And just a screenshot of it if it's off Hero Forge.
Yeah, or you can send me the link and I can print it off, because I can remove the background and put it in token stamp. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, starting gear. Are we doing just standard, or
what's that?
For like prologues for starting gear? Are we doing standard or
standard?
Is everyone familiar
starting
with
gear?
Hero Forge? Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna give a few of you and hash out completely, make sure I understand what the character concept is and all that. And but yeah, everybody's pretty solid now. If we had to jump in right now, we could. I guess we're just waiting on him.
And
we're missing somebody, are we not?
Yeah, the host. I didn't think this was
him and somebody else, are we not?
Just
no, because there were two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Just one camera.
Josh and Marissa were both in one.
They're still trying to get back in. They just message.
Well, I must go. I have to go take care of
Okay.
something, but thank you guys. I'm excited to be able to get on this campaign with you guys and get this whole thing rolling.
Should be fun.
All right, you guys.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Just typing something else. All right. Okay. You said we can log
We
off.
can log off.
All right. I'll be in contact with most of you and
See ya.
probably all of you. See ya.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.
You have a good night. Alrighty. See you.
Sorry, everybody. Phone died. Now I'm back in. Everybody's out. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Getting session 0 started 8th, 15th, and the 22nd. 2 prologues and the official start of the campaign. So, botched initiative. Already botching a few things as we go along and get things all prepared. But we are excited and eager to get things started. So appreciate you guys. Subscribe to Jaffos TV to tag along with the journey, and then follow Botched Initiative on both Instagram and TikTok. See you guys later. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.